I believe that God has planted in every human heart the desire to live in freedom. And even when that desire is crushed by tyranny for decades, it will rise again.
Exporting democratic values was central to the former president's ideology. Iraq was meant to be part of that, but there was also more subtle work going on. And this is the man responsible, Jim Glassman, former Undersecretary for State under George Bush.
We developed a different way to communicate, and I called it Public Diplomacy 2.0, and the idea was that we would be conveners or facilitators of conversations, and big conversations, broad, deep conversations, in which our views would be one of many that would be expressed. So that was the idea, and luckily technology was on our side, because this is what social media do. This is what social networks are all about.
The State Department had been inspired by the amazingly successful grassroots demonstrations in Colombia against FARC guerrillas, organised through Facebook. And it was this enthusiasm for social change that led to the State Department funding the New York conference in December '08. Several Egyptian activists, including Ahmed Saleh from the April the 6th movement, were invited.
There was opposition in Egypt to any members of the April 6th movement coming to the United States. In fact, we invited, I think it was 3 or 4 people. One of them was stopped on his way to the airport. Another one had his passport taken away. So Saleh was the only one, as I recall, who actually got out of Egypt and came to our meeting.
Social networking has played a huge part in subsequent protests, organising non-violent protesters for the overthrow of the Moldovan regime, and then Iran in 2009. But there, the state crushed opposition and even used the web to track down internet activists. Some have been hanged.
So Facebook is really helping us.
The New York-based Alliance of Youth Movements, the body which the State Department funded in 2008, has supported protesters around the world. Here they're Skyping advice to Pakistan. It's also received British government funding. It's now seeking new money, though, from Google, amongst others, for projects to keep activists safe.
We don't have a political agenda, and we appreciate that sometimes it's a tight line, right? So our goal and our mission is really to enable civil society, and in putting those tools out there, showing how they can be used.
But facilitating non-violent protests often dovetails with Western strategic goals.
We're not ashamed to be Americans. We're not ashamed to have strong values that we want to espouse and promote around the world. But we also want to be effective, and the most effective means of communicating and ultimately influencing, let's not kid ourselves, that's what public diplomacy is all about. It's about influence to meet strategic goals. It's a lot easier to be influential if other people, rather than U.S. government officials, are making the pronouncements, are joining the conversation.
Once these networks are unleashed, though, no one can be absolutely sure in which direction they'll travel. Now, for the libertarians under George Bush, this is no problem, because they believe their arguments about freedom and democracy will win the day. But it's also true that sometimes the West has supported dictators in the name of stability and counterterrorism, and this means this path is by no means a straightforward one.
Richard Watson, The Review show is up now.